This is the only one unit in Karnataka?
Yes, sir. This one
The
unit
first one in
currently.
Karnataka?
We are,
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. So the other people in this similar line are ITC and Mahindras.
Yeah, ITC in I think Himachal, na? Mahindra?
Chandigarh. Yeah, Chandigarh.
Both are in Chandigarh. Okay. Super, super. Hats up to you.
Slow movement and just let it focus.
Okay.
Vishwas. Slow, slow. Don't move. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
Slowly.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, that's enough for today. We'll see
Yeah.
when the session starts.
Okay, okay.
But you really need to be slow with your camera.
Oh, live you are showing Sunkad, Jagadeesh, super.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. If you can show along the box the entire length, how it would look. A little behind. You're too close to the leaves. Go back. Show the entire column. Yeah. Fan it up. So the leaves are really growing very thick
very,
and
very healthy. Looks super. Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can put off the camera for the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ankur.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for
All of you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon, President. How are you?
I am fine, Mr. Ankur. How are you doing?
All well, all well. So, very good afternoon.
Ankur is our chairman of the committee. Okay, Ankur Jagadeesh Sunkad.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Hello, hello.
Sanjay Dwivedi, of course, is the also our Agri committee and BCIC member. And Prateek Tiwari from Rajasthan. Jagadeesh from Delhi is participating. Sanjay Dwivedi from Bangalore.
Yes. Hello, hello, Prateek. How are you?
Namaskar, sir. I'm very fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Good.
Okay. Prateek, can we start?
Yeah, that's what's because we have the other announcement, general announcement. So we could start,
Yeah.
right?
I think you can start.
Yes.
Okay, let's start 3:57. By the time you complete your another
Exactly. Correct, President, sir. Very good evening to each one of you. On behalf of the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome each one of you to this session on aeroponics, soilless cultivation and terrace gardening. Before we could start the session, let's have the state patriotic song played first.
जय भारत जननीय तनु जाते जय हे कर्नाटक माते जय सुंदर नदी मन गणनाडे जय हे रसविधि भूदेविय मकुटद नवमणिये अंदद चंदद मुन्निन गणिये राघव मधुसूदन रवतरिसिद भारत जननीय तनु जाते जय भारत जननीय तनु जाते ಜೈನರುದ್ಯಾನ ಜಯ ಜಯ ಹೋಯುವ ದೊರೆಗಳ ಧಾಮ ನಾಯಕ ವೈದಿಕರ ರಾಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ನುಡಿ ಕುಡಿ ಬಾಳುವ ದೇಹ ಕನ್ನಡ ತಾಯಿಯ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ದೇಹ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ಸಂಜಾತೆ ಜಯಲೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಜಯಲೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಜಯಲೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ.
Thank you all for the salutation for the state patriotic song. BCIC requests the members to follow adequate precaution and strictly adhere to COVID-19 protocol. As a mark of respect, a minute of silence, BCIC would offer its tribute to all those who have lost their lives to COVID-19 and pray for their soul to rest in peace. And BCIC also expresses gratitude to all the frontline COVID-19 warriors for the invaluable services that they are rendering. A minute of silence from each one of you. Thank you all for your kind cooperation. We will start the session. This session has been organized under the aegis of Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee of BCIC. We would like to specially thank Mr. Ankur Bhaumik, Chairman of the Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee of BCIC and Chief Operating Officer MTR Foods, and also Mr. Narasimha Nakshathri, Co-Chair of the Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee BCIC and Consultant Nakshathri Associates. And also we'd like to thank Mr. Jagadeesh, Sunkad, special invitee to the Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee of BCIC and Director of Kanakadhara Agriculture Innovation, and Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi, member of the Agro and Food Processing Committee of BCIC and Director at ORBI Seeds International, for curating this session for the benefit of our members. The speaker for today's sessions are Mr. Jagadeesh Sunkad, Director, Kanakadhara Agriculture Innovation, and Mr. Prateek Tiwari, Founder and CEO, The Living Greens. They will be speaking to us on soilless cultivation, aeroponics, prospects, and the features in Karnataka, and also converting the rooftops into organic farm for self-use and commercial farming. The session will be moderated by Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi, member of the Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee of BCIC. On behalf of the Chamber and the office bearers of BCIC, we express our sincere thanks to Mr. Jagadeesh Sunkad and Prateek Tiwari for accepting our invitation to address on this important subject. We would also like to thank all the participants for joining in today's session. We request all the participants to kindly mute your mic and webcam option. This is to enhance and keep the bandwidth strong, as well as avoid any disturbance in the background. Please post your questions in the chat box only. The speakers will respond the questions during the session or in the Q&A session. And also, if required, you could raise your hand so that our speakers will be able to take up your question. May I now invite our President, Mr. K.R. Shekhar, to kindly address the members to take forward the session. Over to you, President sir.
Thank you, Prithvi, and good evening to all my friends there. First, I should thank Mr. Narasimha Nakshathri and Ankur Bhaumik for organizing this wonderful event. The event itself, the title of the event itself is great: soilless agriculture, and then what is called the terrace gardening. Mr. Nakshathri, I'm not an agricultural expert, so pardon me for my ignorance on certain aspects of an agricultural expert. I am, except for the fact that I'm a user of the end product that is coming out of an agriculture. That's all I would say, that my nexus to the agriculture. Sorry for Apologies for me being ignorant, but let me try to learn a few things in the days to come. And when Mr. Narasimha Nakshathri told me about the topic, few years back, if it suggested the topic of terrace gardening and soilless cultivation, people would have hit us with a pelted stone. Boss, what are you guys talking? Terrace gardening and soilless cultivation. What are you guys talking about it? But today in agriculture, this is becoming a reality. There's a very good statistic that is coming out of the Planning Commission, which is a very important area document. Of course, fortunately, this document got vindicated by our economic survey 2 years back. The cultivable land that is coming up for cultivation is slowly declining. What was a cultivable land was almost 40 to 50% of the total land was a cultivable land. Today is almost coming to 25 to 30%. And number two, the challenges in the water and the challenges in the availability of water has also created more challenges from the agricultural perspective. India did try through a drip irrigation system, but unfortunately we were not successful in the drip irrigation system for multiple reasons. But one of the reasons is that the land holding in India is different compared to other Western countries for the purpose of using the drip irrigation system. So every company and every inventions on agriculture was striving towards a modernization and see how best we can reap the benefits of technology and modernization in the agriculture. And that is what the efforts of the government has been made. And basis that the Prime Minister made an announcement 2 years back that by 2024 he would guarantee a certain amount of income to the farmers. But people are all not confident or optimistic about that. But the government is very optimistic because the government said the way the cultivation has to happen, the way agricultural research has to happen, all those things will undergo a change. But nevertheless, there is always a continuous focus on agriculture, on the modernization, what I would call revolutionizing the agriculture in a different result. There's a continuous increase in the logistics cost and the transportation cost of the vegetables and the fruits. People who have traveled in the Maharashtra, in the interior parts of Karnataka in the morning would see a lot of vegetables and the fruits drying on the roads of the highways because nobody is there to take care of the vegetables and the fruits after 9 o'clock. It gets dried up and it gets thrown out. You have a huge wastage in the agriculture, particularly on the end products when it gets transported. And again, the government was focusing on more on warehousing and agricultural warehouses and what we call the logistics and other areas the government is planning to support. But beating all these things back, thanks to my good friends, Mr. Ankur and Narasimha, we are having a great webinar today on terrace gardening and what is called the soilless cultivation or aeroponics. Terrace gardening, I'm a little bit aware of the terrace gardening, not because of anything, thanks to my wife. In my balcony, there's a huge garden is there where I will see capsicum, lemon, coriander leaves, curry leaves, brinjal, all of those things are growing in my roof garden with amount of flowers, bearing fruits. All flowers and vegetables are there in my roof garden. So terrace gardening is something, a concept which has been very well accepted nowadays. And in fact, I'm not talking joking, but in Tamil, there's a movie got released few years back. In fact, yesterday I was jokingly telling Narasimha Nakshathri about this. A movie got released where a heroine who was in a mid-age she was more interested in agriculture and the cultivation. She started using the terrace gardening, and due to the terrace gardening, her vegetables became more popular than normal vegetables, and she was in a higher demand. And there was a movie got released, and thanks to that movie, I could see in Tamil Nadu, a lot of ladies started doing the terrace gardening because in India, unfortunately, if you need to do anything, if it comes through a chamber or if it comes through an expert, it doesn't hit the masses. But when it comes through a movie or a movie star, it hits the masses. And terrace gardening hit the masses through that movie in Tamil Nadu. Today, if you go to any parts of Chennai or any parts of Tamil Nadu, the terrace gardening is more popular there. So, and terrace gardening is also becoming a more important area from the purpose of hobbying perspective, also more from agriculture coming hobbying perspective also. The second aspect of the soil is cultivation. It's something I understand it is coming to the air moisture and stuff like that. But suffice to say that there's one more trend in the agriculture which is coming up. And I'm happy that under the dynamic leadership of Mr. Ankur, Bhaumik and Narasimha Nakshathri, Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce taking a lead on this particular program. And we have got an excellent speakers, Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi, sorry, Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi, Mr. Jagadeesh Sunkad, and Mr. Prateek Tiwari for the excellent speakers who are going to speak on that. I understand Mr. Prateek Tiwari is taking the call from Jaipur and Jagadeesh Sunkad is taking the call from Delhi. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting the BCIC invite and taking the call from the faraway places. And once again, thanks to Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi, who is happy to articulate and happy to give his perspective on this very good topic, which will be relevant for all the members. Once again, thank you so much for being here, and thanks for all the support, Mr. Ankur, Bhaumik and Narasimha Nakshathri for doing it. And you've got a person as a president who is only user of the agricultural product but may not be an agricultural expert. But thanks to you, I am also learning few tips on the agriculture which may be relevant as a pastime post my retirement. That's all I would say. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks a lot. Have a great show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, President Sir, for this wonderful address to the members. Though you are not aware on the soilless cultivation, but still you shared good thoughts, which was really a good eye-opener for us all. May I now request Mr. Ankur, Bhaumik to set the theme for today's session and take forward, sir. So over to you, Ankur, Bhaumik, sir.
So thank you, Prithvi, and thank you, President, for sharing your thoughts and so kind words. And yes, I would say that you have done most of my job because already the contest has been set and it has been done so nicely. And like you, I'm also not agricultural expert. And when we have distinguished speakers like Mr. Jagadeesh Sunkad and Mr. Prateek Tiwari, and which is moderated by Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi, I would rather spend more time in listening and understanding and knowing and have a good learning session from all of you. And like most of you, I would also like to listen rather than to talk about more on aeroponics and terrace gardening. When I really talk about this aeroponics and terrace gardening, one thing comes to my mind, and which President already touched upon, that cultivable land. And we are saying that the world today are facing the greatest challenge. The challenge is about sustainability, challenges about climate, challenges about, when we talk about agriculture and with increasing population, and also when the poverty is getting elevated and food consumption is going up, we need more land. And to have more land, we always talked about we need more water, we need more land, and we need more fertilizer, more pesticide, because if we have more pesticides, more production would happen. But somehow we really need to look at whether this is sustainable or not. Somehow we need to really look at that resource on the planet is finite. And when sustainability was a buzzword a decade ago, and believe me that if we had talked about sustainability, people would say it is a job of a consultant. But today, it has become a kind of an imperative for all of us to be responsible and to be innovative. I think innovation is the most important thing to really see that how can we find ways to have cultivation which requires less water, less or no land, no pesticide, less fertilizer. And yes, one is most important thing that when we really would like to do that, one thing we always need to look at a cost of production, a reduced cost of production. And I'm not an expert, and I really do not know how much is going to cost aeroponics and terrace gardening today compared to the normal cost of production. But yes, even if it is high, I always believe it's a continuous process, and therefore I said it's an innovation. It could be lower, it could be higher, but it has certain benefits. It has certain benefits about quality. It has certain benefits about consistency, where somebody can really look at the pH level, somebody can look at the control of climate. So certain values that would bring and in aeroponics. And for terrace gardening, yes, everyone in the balcony today would start doing that. It has a lot of people that started doing it, but we are all a beginner at this point of time. We have just begun the whole thing. To me, the aeroponics and terrace gardening is more of futuristic. This is something is only going to grow. The noise had just started, and this is more of the sunrise, subsector of agriculture, and which is only going to grow. And without spending much time, because we all are going to hear from our distinguished speakers and moderator, who are real entrepreneurs, scientists, achievers in the field, having rich experience in soil breeding, seed breeding, soilless cultivation, and terrace gardening by using solar. So basically, what we really look at 3S: seed, soilless, and solar. So what I'll do, I will not spend much time on this. I'm eagerly waiting and looking forward to this session, and I'm also looking at it as a learning session. And hand over to Prithvi. Thank you so much. And before I end, I really thank all the speakers. I really thank moderator to accept and to share the knowledge with all of us, which is going to be immensely beneficial. I thank President for taking out time and to be part of this training session. I sincerely thank. I thank Chamber for organizing this, and I also thank our co-chair, Mr. Narasimha Nakshathri, who actually taken initiative to connect with all of you and see that we have this session where a lot of us would immensely benefit out of it. So thank you so much, and over to Preeti.
Oh, thank you, Ankurji, for this wonderful setting the theme. Without much wasting of time, I hand it over to Mr. Narasimha Nakshathri, who will be introducing the today's speaker and taking it forward. Over to you, Narasimha, sir.
Thank you, President Shekhar sir. Thank you, Mr. Bhaumik, Chairman, Agro Committee, Agro and Food Processing Committee. And this our webinar is telecasted by the BCIC directly, and also is being telecasted at the Tirupati Venkateswara University and also at the Malaysia and Singapore. Thank you very much for all those the presentations and the live telecast. So I would like to introduce the Sanjay Dwivedi, who is a PhD in Science and Technology, who is our moderator. Sanjay has been working as the Managing Director of ORBI International Seeds, Bangalore. He was a CEO for the United Genetics India Limited for 6 years. He has a special interest in breeding programs of tomatoes, peppers, brinjals, cucumbers, melons, and watermelons, and other vegetables, which has led to the release of several commercially successfully vegetable hybrids. So far, he has put 25 years in the seed industry. ORBI International Limited is an Indian seed company with a vision to grow into global seed player. The corporate office is in Bangalore and registrations are in and around Bangalore. ORBI Seeds has trials centers in USA, Thailand, Malaysia, and various surgical vegetable crops under the leadership of Dr. Remo, who is well-known figure, chairman of ORBI Seeds International, former chairman of United Genetics USA, and it's going to develop high-yielding disease-resistance hybrids in vegetables, fruit and flower step crops to cater to the needs of Indian international farmers. Now, Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi is also a well-known figure in the processing tomato segment. He has released varieties suitable for this segment and successfully implemented comprehensive contract cultivation models in Maharashtra and Karnataka. He has been associated with the tomato companies like Heinz, Morningstar, Kagome, and Unilever for processing tomatoes. Interestingly, he has ventured into agri-tech space as well by co-founding Tene Agricultural Solutions Private Limited. The company has world-class products in crop health management. Both Agriculture and Horticulture Department of Government of Karnataka is using this product. They are also digitally empowering rural youth in this to provide crop health services to the farmers. This is about the brief introduction of Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi. And I would like to introduce our friend Mr. Jagadeesh Sunkad. He is a director of Kanakadhara Agri Solutions. He is in the field of agriculture for the last 25 years with the agribusiness field. Accomplishing innovation management, contract farming, technology transfer, research and training, arranging joint ventures and collaborations. And He is an Bachelor of Science in Electronics, and also he has done his management program in Comel in India, Agribusiness Management. He has done his Agri and Food Business Management program in Comel University in New York, USA. He has also done the MBA program in IIM Bangalore, Management Program for Entrepreneurs and Family Business. He is a notable work he has done in the public domain. One is Aeroponics, soilless cultivation technology for seed potato and mini tuber production. He has also done a lot of work on super absorbent polymers, smart material that work as soil conditioners for creating a slow release mechanism for water nutrients. He has also done a lot of work on value chain initiatives, innovative interventions for building market linkages. Jagadeesh Sunkad is also works with a wonderful startup companies by the name Centron Labs Private Limited, founded by passionate patriots of IIT and IIM who are using artificial intelligence to make complex machines that help grade fruits and vegetables. These machines help farmers and consumers. At high speed, 50 fruits per second, they are fruits, they are computed to determine the size, color, weight, and defects and sweetness of the fruits. This is a small background about Jagadeesh Sunkad. Now, let me introduce my friend, Mr. Prateek Tiwari. He is a CEO and founder of the organization called the Living Greens. He is an agricultural engineer, MBA from Indian Institute of Modern Foreign Trade. He has worked in Mahindra & Mahindra, Reliance Fresh, ITC, and Walmart. He is working with a mission to cover the rooftops of all cities under a green cover of rooftop organic farms. This would not only make fresh organic vegetables from your own rooftop, but also significantly reduce the power consumption caused by the roofs being exposed to direct sun. So he is well-known figure in this rooftop gardening. Even the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji also, he has visited several of his the farms and exhibitions. I handed over to Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi to take up the presentation, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And as the topic says today, the aim of this total session is on sustainability. See, sustainability, the word was used more like a fancy word because we have worked in this industry for 25 years. People were telling sustainability, but it never got into the business. So I think now the sustainability with these two topics, they are really going to focus on sustainability. And as you know, both of them, they are a very well-known people in the industry. So I think let me invite Mr. Jagadeesh ji to start the program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay, Dr. Mr. Shekhar, Mr. Ankur, Bhaumik, and Nakshathri, sir. You people have been guiding many youngsters, and thank you really for this opportunity where I can share some of the fragments I have pursued. I just request the presentation to be loaded, please. I have, as usual, technology when you're out stations sometimes gives you a problem. While the presentation is being loaded, just as a brief background, I came across this technology called Aeroponics in 2004, and I began as a non-believer. I really walked out, I laughed at it, and I disbelieved it. And today I'm practicing it. So that's my journey. Next slide, please. Next slide. Can we run the video? It gives you an idea of the project. It is a short video that helps set the background. If you click on that, yeah.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct, but it's wordy and hard to read. It undermines the writer's message, and the word choice is bland.
Seeing is believing. The more you see it, the better feel you get for it. So this is a project that's located a few kilometers away from Davangere. the two polyhouse. This is the plants. You can see the shoot. You can see there is no soil there. You can see the roots suspended in air. The two pipes you saw below there are carrying the nutrients. And we have advanced cooling systems which cool the whole polyhouse. We pump clean and cold air to the crop so that we get the right climate and we are able to grow potato throughout the year. Normally, potato is grown once in a year, and because of the kind of facilities we have created, we can grow it 3 times a year or even 4 times. You can see that it's a commercial project. Many years ago, it was a small benchtop model that I was experimenting with. Obviously, because it's not a natural cultivation, we have to maintain a whole lot of phytosanitary conditions there. Because you don't have soil, you need to mechanically otherwise hold the plants. These are our staff harvesting the tubers. I think that's given a general idea. We can pause the video and go back to the slides, please. We do have a state-of-art tissue culture lab and the whole works. Next slide, please. So, yeah, some other visuals for you to get an idea of soilless cultivation. Let's quickly go through the photographs, please. Next slide, next slide. You can keep 2 or 3 seconds on each slide. Yeah. So, yeah, these are various experiments being done by people. Next. Next. Yeah. Such is a technology where we are talking about vertical farming. We'll discuss it a little later. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. Yeah.
आलू की खेती में लगातार जरूरत के अनुसार उत्पादन के लिए स्वस्थ एवं रोग रहित बीज की आवश्यकता है। बीज का उत्पादन संस्थान द्वारा विकसित पारंपरिक विधि जैसे सीड प्लांट तकनीकी से और
So this was a facility we had created at Chikbalapur. So after our initial lab experiments, we went to Chikbalapur. Now we are at Davangere, and we have been expanding. Next slide, please. Next slide. This is before the tuberization, and you can see after tuberization. Normally, if I grow a potato outside, I would get say 6 to 8 to 10 tubers per plant. Here we take anywhere from 30 to 50 to 80 tubers per plant. Next slide, please. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. So one second. So why do we need aeroponics? Literally when we began this, I had asked myself, Jagadeesh, do you want to play God here? Nature works beautifully. Why are you meddling? Are you adding to the thing? The only answer that came up to me is this: if I have practiced this experimentation, I shall be closer to nature. I'll understand how nature uses water and nutrients, and it's been a very shocking experience for me. My respect for soil has gone up significantly because we worked on soil-less cultivation. Like when a fish is removed out of water, it realizes the value of water. When I had taken out soil, I learned great secrets of the soil. Okay. Now, how is the next slide, please? Yeah, we can go through the points. Just click them. Yeah. So, in aeroponics first part, because these words are being used interchangeably, and today there's a lot of buzz. We'll have in Bangalore not less than 50 people who are experimenting with various forms of soilless cultivation, hydroponics, and aquaponics. Okay. Essentially, there is no medium for the roots to grow in. Okay, the plant is held by a collar. and the roots need to be in a chamber. Next, please. Yeah. So we have a misting mechanism which will blow a mist of nutrients to the root system. That's very important. And invariably, aeroponics is not to be done on rooftop or anywhere. We have total climate control. So it's a controlled environment agriculture, or CEAVC. Very important to understand this term and to work with it. Yeah. So what is unique about it? Next slide. Yeah. So the two unique features about aeroponics or any other form of cultivation really is roots breathe, and hence the dissolved oxygen in water causes that high yield and high performance. In traditional agriculture, in most other agriculture, roots experience stress because they can't breathe, and hence energy has to be sent by the phloem and xylem to the roots, phloem to the root system. In this case, it's not required. That is the extra energy available. Two, in most media, we have an issue where the nutrients bind and get blocked or locked. Here, there is no nutrition blocking. All of it is used by the plant or returned back for recycling. Next slide, please. This is a little animation. So you have a chamber, you have a misting system, you have a growth going on top of that. Today, many people grow many crop. Unfortunately, if you really dig on the net, you'll find people growing cannabis. Okay, that's the reason you don't find a lot of literature. Next slide, please. Yeah. Advantage is basically the roots just spend 0.02% of time in water. Okay, next. Crops require only 5% of fertilizer. We use fertilizer type in quantities of grams per day. Okay. Very little manpower is required as against the drudgery of agriculture does not exist here. There is a lot of hard work, yes, but the drudgery of agriculture is not there in this. Okay. It's cost effective in the sense if we had to add a cost to the resources that we use, not to consider the infrastructure cost initially, but I'll come back and touch certain things of the economics of crop because I'm sure that has many questions with people. Next slide, please. Yeah, here basically the characteristic is that water and nutrients are recycled. I mean, traditionally, if I grew potato as a crop, I would require about 20 liters of water per day. Here we do hardly with 60 ml. So that's a quantity of water difference that this technique will have. Next slide, please. Next slide. This we have seen. Yeah. So basically, if you had to make a comparison of various methods, here you are able to control the shoot system and the root system. The environments used there, the kind of environment, what should I say, factors we apply there, and hence we are really optimizing yield to the highest. Next slide, please. Maybe a copy of the presentation can be shared because I understand some students are here and they can look at all these. Basically, because it's sterile, what we do mainly focus here is on seed potato production. And it's my humble discovery that if we give good quality seeds to farmers, you don't need any subsidy and other support later. If you're given a poor quality seed, heaven forbid, no subsidy or nothing can help the farmer. So this technique, basically not just by us, world over today is a gold standard for producing potato seeds. Because when you grow once in a year, it takes almost 7 to 8 years to release a variety. In our case, with this technology, with most people, we are now doing it in about less than 2 years. Coincidentally, some of you would have seen this in the movie Mars. Next slide, please. So, some of the places where still it's at research stage, and I would like the students and faculty wherever to really draw their attention at this. So, one, if you wanted to study crop physiology, biotic and abiotic stresses, some plants are susceptible to excess moisture or shortage of moisture, or a particular living organism, pathogen, or ecto or endomicrobe. This is the technique only available to you where you need to touch the roots. Similarly, our understanding of crop nutrition goes very deep if you adopt this technology, because there is no other locked or undiscoverable or dependent nutrient that exists in any soil. Similarly, if you want to take up microbiome soils, if you want to study proteomics or metabolomics, if you want to do this phytonutrients or active ingredients in plants which can be used as medicinal properties, and want to understand what is influencing the active ingredients formation, this is the technology for you. Similarly, there's a science called induced systemic resistance, which is very different from creating vaccines for human beings. If I'm able to induce a certain resistance in a plant, it's not going to have a fungal infection. That's the whole idea. So today, next slide, please. Today already, like I said, we are using the aeroponics for seed production and medicinal plant cultivation. These are the two major areas where we have commercial applications. Next slide. Yeah, I get asked a lot of questions. Okay, so the first of it is it organic? Okay, and I wish to just leave it an answer saying that look, it's a relative choice because most people want to be purists at that and use. And I will choose. I would not like to call aeroponics as organic. Okay, we do use chemicals, but they are only to the extent of nutrients. We ensure such a sterile condition that there are no pests and hence no pesticides or other harmful chemicals used. Nutrients are not harmful. You need to know the level at which to use it. Yeah. Similarly, many people ask me, is this food safe? And let me assure you, 100% is as safe as anything can be on earth. Probably it's a little more safe, but let's not get into that. Let's accept it that this is safe because all the care that can be taken has been taken to grow the crop. Yeah. So another question, is this natural? It is natural. There's no genetic modifications involved here, except that there is no soil. Everything else is a natural growth process. We do not artificially induce growth in it. Okay. I said there's no genetic modification. Then people ask me about, is it commercially viable? Okay. Today, none other than ITC and Mahindra's practice this technology to capitalize on the potato as a crop, and this is the gold standard world over. We must be having about 50 projects all over the world at the max. I believe, I don't know of more than 20, but I'm willing to say there are some more projects which are not visible to us. And I'm happy to tell you that we have one in Karnataka. Next slide, please. Yeah. Do we get higher yields? Okay. Here's where I do not want youngsters to be misled or people to be led, because a lot of Google literature does talk of high yields. Now, really, what is the scale you measure? I mentioned to you that we managed to harvest, let's take on a lower end of 25 to 40 tubers per plant, whereas outside I would have got it per crop. Okay, in a year, so I would be doing nothing less than 100 tubers per plant. Whereas if I did a commercial cultivation, I'd get 30 tubers per plant. So it is a high yield, but it's not the net yield that we do, because we do not try to take large potatoes. We take smaller potatoes. Next, please. Yeah. So how much lesser nutrient does it use? Significantly lesser. Yeah. This video I think will run for a minute. Is there a video on that? You can see some crops. Yeah. Just one more click. The video. See, what is the opportunity that I see? Now, sometime back when I was in Vietnam, we discovered this. We can grow a potato sugarcane as an intercrop. So the sugarcane farmers who basically don't grow any crop in the field for the first 100 days, while they are doing the sowing of sugarcane, can also simultaneously sow potato. And at the end of 100 days, they do something called the ridge breaking to do earthing up for the sugarcane crop. In the same crop, without doing any additional work, they can have harvested potatoes. So the farmers end up getting two crops. This is a great advantage to Karnataka, where we have huge area under sugarcane cultivation, a lot of water. What we needed is good quality water, seeds available to our farmers, which is what we are trying to do. Hopefully, we'll provide it for the rest of the country too. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think that's the brief presentation. If I have the time, we would like to take you live there. Do we have the time? Can I ask Vishwas to come online if it's possible? Maybe we can.
Yeah, quickly, I think.
If we have the time. Yeah. Vishwas, can you show the crop? We can show the chamber somewhere. So this is the crop you are seeing live today. It's going to be harvested. We kept it pending for your view. Thank you, Vishwas. I think we should move on.
Okay.
Thank you. So we could take questions later or now as appropriate.
I think we can take questions later. Let's finish both the presentations and then we can have questions. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now I invite Mr. Prateek Tiwari.
Yes, sir. I'll just share my presentation.
Yeah.
So could anybody confirm whether my screen is visible?
Yeah, I think yes.
Okay, thank you. Namaskar, my name is Prateek Tiwari. I'm the founder and CEO of the Living Greens. Today we are going to talk about converting rooftops into organic farms for self-use and commercial farming. I can assure you one thing: by the time this presentation is over, you will have one thought in your head that there's a lot that can be done on the rooftops, and we never thought about rooftops as a useful space. It continues to be a redundant space in almost every household. Let's first look at the problems that are being faced by almost every city, not just in India but across the world. So we know that cities are becoming hotter, and because the cities are becoming hotter, they're becoming low pressure areas, and because they're becoming low pressure areas, they are continuously inviting airborne pollution, and that leads to very poor air quality. So much so that doctors in cities like Delhi have started saying that due to the poor air quality, children below the age of 12 will suffer permanent tissue damage in their lungs for the rest of their lives. So things have become so bad. And then there are power shortages simply because of the fact that our buildings are becoming hotter and we require more energy to cool them. So people can't survive without air conditioners. So more and more power is being used. So obviously there are going to be power shortages. Pesticides in vegetables is something that we have heard a lot about. But the problem is not just pesticide in vegetables. It's also about heavy metals. So we wrongly assume that the only culprit that is hiding in our vegetables is the toxic pesticide. Now we need to understand that vegetables can be categorized into two simple categories. Those vegetables which are coming from long distance areas where they are strategically grown in large areas. So for example, there could be a tomato growing area or a potato growing area or an onion growing area. So the tomato, potato, onion that you are receiving is actually coming from very long distances where hundreds of acres of potato, hundreds of acres of tomato are being grown. And because intensive cultivation of the same crop is being done, so there the disease and pest have become endemic, and hence more and more toxic pesticides are being used. So that, as far as toxic pesticide is concerned, that's the correct understanding. But what we have failed to understand is that the other category of vegetables, particularly the leafy vegetables. Now, those leafy vegetables are not coming from those strategic areas. Those leafy vegetables are coming from very, very small plots on the periphery of the city where they are being grown. Now, unfortunately, on the periphery of the city, groundwater is not available because, thanks to colonization, the groundwater is now has go way down below, and in fact, it has started becoming saline. So these peri-urban growers are forced to use the free-flowing water, which could be the river water or the sewage water. Now, even the rivers have also become sewages. They've become large sewers because they have been contaminated with industrial pollution. And those industrial effluents contain heavy metals. The problem with heavy metals is that they get absorbed directly in the in the tissue of the vegetable. So that means that when you're eating vegetables which have been grown using effluent water, you are directly ingesting heavy metals, and heavy metals do not get digested in the gut in your gut, and they keep on getting accumulated, and then they can give rise to any sort of carcinomas, what we also call cancer. So that's a big problem. And then food miles have been increasing. Food miles basically means the distance that your food is traveling before it reaches your plate. So the food miles are increasing, and hence more fuel is being burnt per kg of vegetable for moving it from long distances to your plate. And then a hidden problem which is actually boiling under the surface are the jobless rural youth in the cities. Rural youth are migrating into the cities, and they're looking for petty jobs, all sorts of jobs, but they're not finding it. And then ultimately they get into petty politics, student politics, or they start doing very small jobs like guard or car cleaner and those kind of things. So these are problems which are not endemic to any specific city in India. I mean, almost every city in the world is facing these problems. Now, how is it connected to rooftop farming? See, rooftop farming is now emerging as a panacea for all these problems. On one hand, I did not talk about kitchen waste problem, but that is also a huge problem. That's a major headache for every city administration. What do they do with the kitchen waste? So composted kitchen waste can be used as a biofertilizer for growing rooftop organic vegetable. It's actually a beautiful loop. It's a closed cycle. So you are growing organic vegetables using the composted kitchen waste, you're consuming those organic vegetables, and then generating kitchen waste, which again can be composted and again reused for growing those organic vegetables. That's a very beautiful balanced cycle that can happen if we start popularizing rooftop organic farming. Then the other thing is that energy can be saved because the exposed rooftops will now get a natural beam cover. They will not be exposed directly to the sun, and thus the buildings shall be cooler. So there will be a tangible and a drastic reduction in the consumption of energy for cooling the building. And then of course food miles are going to get reduced because you're creating the shortest possible supply chain in the world. You're growing where you're consuming. Nothing could be shorter than that. So you are actually bringing down the food miles to almost zero. Today, the food miles for a city like Bangalore would be not less than about 400 kilometers. You're actually bringing it down to zero. And then, of course, you are converting your rooftop, which is a redundant space, to grow fresh organic vegetables. Rooftop organic farming can create jobs for the rural youth, and I'm going to talk more about it in my subsequent slides. And sequestration of carbon dioxide definitely happens in abundance. It happens in abundance because vegetable plants during the process of photosynthesis are absorbing a lot of carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen and water vapor. So governments, city governments, state governments, and all the way up to the Prime Minister's office, there is a rising realization that by popularizing rooftop organic farming, there are multiple problems that can be simultaneously addressed. So just to give it a mathematical foundation, I just did this small calculation that what kind of annual figures we can see if we are doing rooftop organic farming in 100,000 square feet. So this 100,000 square feet is not one rooftop, it is basically the aggregated area. So we could consider 100 large building, each building having 1,000 square feet of rooftop space. Now, when you are doing rooftop organic farming of seasonal vegetables on 100,000 square feet, what kind of numbers or what is the impact of that 100,000 square feet of rooftop organic farming? And that's what I've tried to put it in tangible numbers. So you can produce 100 metric tons, and these are annual numbers. So you can produce 100 metric tons of fresh organic vegetables, which can feed up to 550 families. The fuel cost, which is saved, that can be up to 20 lakhs. Now, please remember that all these figures are connected to the assumption that the rooftop organic farming is being done in 100,000 square feet. 900 metric ton of kitchen waste can be composted and reused. 100,000 square feet of rooftop space can receive natural green cover, and up to 300 rural youth who come to the cities. So 300 youth can be trained for if you're doing rooftop organic farming in an aggregated rooftop area of 100,000 square feet. I've also mentioned my assumptions. So the rooftop area is 100,000 square feet. The number of large buildings, I'm talking about 100 large buildings, each with 1,000 square feet. The daily vegetable consumption per family, I have assumed it to be about half a kg. The quantity of raw kitchen waste required to create 1 kg of kitchen waste compost is 3 kg. And the quantity of kitchen waste compost used per square feet for growing organic vegetables is about 3 kgs. And the number of trained rural youth required per building is 3. You require 3 youths to maintain a rooftop farm, and we are talking about 100 buildings. So the reason why I put these numbers here is that rooftop organic farming is not a glamorous fancy figure. It actually tangibly impacts and solves a lot of problems simultaneously. Now there are various types. So we categorize rooftop organic farming in these various categories. So there is home farming. That means individual citizens who have got space on the rooftop, they can grow their organic vegetable. We are now talking about a new era of commercial rooftop farming. That means young entrepreneurs who are attracted to organic farming but would not like to or may not have the resources to do organic farming on land. That is buying land or taking land on rent and then doing organic farming there. Those young entrepreneurs can actually occupy the empty rooftops of large buildings like schools, hospitals, colleges, universities, offices. I mean, think about it. All those large buildings have got empty rooftops. So these entrepreneurs can commercially produce organic vegetables from these large rooftops. And the beautiful thing about this commercial rooftop farming concept is that it's going to be a carbon neutral concept. That means that not only are you producing organic vegetables in the heart of the city, you are probably just using a bicycle to deliver those freshly harvested organic vegetables to a premium customer, or the premium customer could be an individual housewife, or it could be the chef of a hotel, but you're not using any fuel at all. And the winning proposition of commercial rooftop farming is that you can tell your customer that the vegetable that you picked up today morning from the vegetable shop, whether it's Reliance Fresh or any other, whether it's organized or unorganized retail shop, the vegetable that you picked up today morning is at least 14 to 18 hours old. But the vegetable that you're receiving from the rooftop is just 14 to 18 minutes old, because you're growing those vegetables in the heart of the city. Then the other category is school farming. We love doing work with the schools because it not only gives an opportunity for the school to utilize its large rooftop, it really connects children to organic farming. Till today, schools were forced to take children on farm picnics if they genuinely wanted the children to connect with farming. But rooftop organic farming enables a school to educate their children and connect them to organic farming right there on top of their rooftop. So school farming is also something that we are very excited about. And then community organic farming is also possible. That means people who are living in apartments, they don't need to lose hope that they don't have their own rooftop space. Well, just change your mindset. Think about it. You have such a large common rooftop. Why can't all families come together and create a community organic farm on that large common rooftop? So these are the categories of rooftop organic farming that we have come across. Now, it's not that people have not tried to grow vegetables in their houses. But over these 8.5 years, so Living Beans was founded in 2013 and it's been more than 8.5 years. during these 8.5 years, I have realized that almost every urban grower is facing the same set of problems, the same common set of problems. So either they're using containers which has got a leaking bottom. So a lot of people assume that when they put a tray under the pot, then it serves the purpose. Well, actually, the tray will lead to waterlogging. So the tray is really not a good idea. But if you remove the tray, then all the water is anyway going to touch the surface of the rooftop, and it may cause seepages. Now, people have started using grow bags, but the problem with grow bags is that there is no subsurface drainage, which means that if there is rainfall or over irrigation, there's going to be waterlogging inside the grow bag. Then a lot of people are making this huge mistake of using soil on the rooftop. See, please remember please remember that rooftop is not, technically speaking, in the language of civil engineering, rooftop is not a load-bearing structure. So you have to be extremely careful about the kind of weight that you're putting on the rooftop. Now, the problem with soil is that when you irrigate it, it becomes extremely heavy. And if you are filling a pot and putting that pot on the rooftop and irrigating that pot, then you are concentrating a lot of heavy weight in very, very limited area. So that is also something that's a huge mistake that a lot of people are doing. And then the whole process of planting is very, very space inefficient. I see people planting, innumerable vegetables in an extremely restricted space. It's impossible. That's not the right way of growing. You are actually causing the plants to compete against each other for nutrition. So the method of planting is extremely space inefficient. And then, of course, most of the urban growers are dependent on their gardeners who have absolutely no idea about how to organically control pests and diseases. And all the enthusiasm, it falls flat when your nicely growing tomato plant gets affected by a pest or disease. So these are the common problems that we have seen urban growers facing. And precisely to address these common problems, we have created what we call a rooftop farming pack. Now, the rooftop farming pack consists of the following components. The first thing is called a portable farming system. Now, what you see here in the picture can be shipped in a CKD form. That means it can be shipped in pieces, it can be received in pieces, and it can easily be self-installed by the receiver. In fact, during the lockdown, during the pandemic, in fact, during both the lockdowns, we were actually quite amazed that even senior citizens of 65 or 68 years of age, they were able to self-install this portable farming system. And the reason for that is that all the joints are color-coded, and then we have also created a self-installation video. So once you refer to the self-installation video, it's as simple as putting the Lego cubes together. Then what you see here filled inside this this green container is not soil. It's a unique organic soilless medium, and this soilless medium is 1/3 the weight of soil. It has taken us 8 years of hard research. But the beauty of this organic medium is that it is crop agnostic. That means you can grow medicinal plants in it, you can grow flowering plants in it, you can grow fruit plants in it, and you can, of course, grow vegetable plants in it. A very important thing when you're doing rooftop farming is that you need to make sure that the container that you're using, it should not have any heat sealed joints. So generally, the containers that are available on e-commerce marketplaces like Amazon, those containers have been created by sticking two surfaces together using a hot air gun. So basically melting the two surfaces and sticking them together. So they are called heat seal joint. So the problem with the heat seal joints is that when that container is sitting on the rooftop and it is suffering from the extremities of temperature, from very, very hot to very cold, those heat seal joints become weak. And as they become weak, water is able to find its way out of those joints, and then they subsequently lead to seepages under your roof. So having a leak-proof container is extremely important. And then it has its own drip irrigation system. It's not just about saving water, but we have realized that a lot of people who want to grow vegetables either on their rooftop or in their balconies, they make this huge mistake of using pipe for offering water. Now, that's a very wrong thing to do. You will actually end up killing your plant. Drip irrigation system is great because just drop by drop is falling in the root zone. And then the other important thing is that you can inject organic root applications through the drip irrigation system, and they will travel to the root zone of each and every plant. And then I talked about drainage system. So this has got its own subsurface drainage system. I would like to remind you that this product has evolved over 8 years, 8.5 years. This product is currently being used in over 1,500 houses spread across 25 cities, which also means that this product has been used in various agroclimatic conditions, from Salem in the south to Kolkata in the east to Bikaner in the west, and all the way up to Pathankot or Kotdwar in the north. And then, as you can see, it has a trellising frame with green net. Now, the trellising frame actually becomes very useful when you're growing creepers. Now, besides the portable farming system, we also offer, or let's say along with the portable farming system, we also offer an organic input kit. Now, the purpose of the organic input kit is to control pests and diseases in an organic manner, but to also offer nutrient recharges. So there are three components. So we have the organic sprays and root application. So there are 7 organic sprays. So as you can see in this picture, the bottles have been named as per the day of the week. But the fact of the matter is that the Monday bottle does not contain a product called Monday, or a Tuesday bottle does not contain a product called Tuesday. We have just named these bottles just to make sure that you are using, you're spraying these organic inputs on a regular basis. But just to give you a sneak peek, a Monday bottle contains a very, very interesting thing. It's called Bavaria bassiana, and people from agriculture would appreciate Bavaria bassiana. It's a liquid fungus. It's a live fungus, and when it gets sprayed on the skin of the insect, it spreads a fungal infection all around the body of the insect and ultimately kills the insect in 72 hours. And it's an extremely effective way for controlling all kinds of pests in organic farming domain. So similarly, we have the Tuesday spray, which contains neem oil. Then in Wednesday, we have Dashaparni earth. So basically, these sprays are a combination of modern biocontrol agents and Vedic formulations. So moving on, the second category of items we have are traps and lures. So we have pheromone trap, which is basically for fruit flies, and yellow sticky trap for flying insects. And then for mid-season and end-season application of nutrients, we also offer 2 biofertilizers. Now, mid-season application is important because the vegetative growth is peaking at that time. And end-season application basically means that when you're removing the crop, all the vegetables have been harvested, and when you're removing the plants of that crop, and you want to make your organic medium rejuvenated for the next crop, that is where the end season application of biofertilizer is done. So everything travels as a single kit, as a single compact kit to the customer. Then we offer online support systems. So there are 2 kinds of support. So one is reactive support, in which we create a WhatsApp group and we encourage our clients to send their problem pictures every day. And then on the basis of the problem pictures, our experts, they offer solution, but again, very important, our solutions are restricted to the components of the organic input kit or to any specific interculture practice. So for people new to agriculture, interculture practice just basically means those physical activities that you need to do while growing the vegetables. So it could mean hoeing, it could mean spraying, it could mean trellising, it could mean 3G cutting, it could mean 4G cutting, those kind of things. And then we offer proactive support, in which we have digitized our 8.5 years of knowledge and converted it into videos of interculture practices. Now, these videos do not contain any language, they don't contain any sound. The videos are completely focused on hand movement. So what that basically means is that if my organic expert has told you that, sir, please do trellising of your bottle gourd creeper, we will send across the video on trellising. Now, even if you don't have the time, you just have to share that video with your gardener or your servant and tell him, just follow this video. Now, he can also, even if he is illiterate, he can still follow the video because it's completely visual. There are no subtitles, there is no narration. So it's easier for an illiterate person also to follow those videos. Then we have schematic diagrams which help our clients to do sowing. We need to make sure that plant to plant and row to row distance is maintained. Then we have vegetable calendars that enable our clients to understand what can be grown next. And then we have created hundreds of info nuggets in the form of small PDFs. Like for example, we have a PDF called Components of the Organic Input Kit and their functions. So those tiny little info nuggets in the form of PDFs are also shared through the online support system. And then in very specific cities in Rajasthan, in NCR and in Bihar, we are also offering on-site maintenance support in which we do hardware check, we do plant health check, we do organic sprays, root application on-site. We also do on-site nursery preparation. And this is precisely the reason why we are now looking for city business partners, because the on-site maintenance support team would be created by the city business partners. What can be grown on the rooftop? Although it's a heavily populated slide, I just wanted to mention the vegetables that can be grown that we grow very well. So like bottle gourd, ridge gourd, bitter gourd, muskmelon, watermelon, pumpkin, okra, beans, brinjal, chili, and even sweet corn. And these numbers are basically telling the customer that how many plants will be grown, what is the harvest stage, what is going to be the duration of the harvest, what is the frequency of harvest, and what is the quantity per harvest. So this is basically how we create the vegetable plan for each and every client. Similarly, in the winter season, we have cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, purple cabbage, tomato, cherry tomato, 3 kinds of lettuce, different leafy vegetable like spinach, fenugreek, cilantro, radish, table radish, beetroot, carrot, and onion and potato. So definitely our yield of potato is far less than what you have seen in that marvelous aeroponics presentation that was made by Sunkad sir. But yes, you can definitely grow potatoes in your house using in the portable farming system. Now, what I'm going to now present to you is something which is so exciting that it keeps me awake every night. We call it the City Fresh model, and the City Fresh model is something unique that the world is going to see. This is going to be the first online platform which is going to connect urban growers, urban rooftop growers with urban consumers. So there are 3 categories of urban rooftop growers. So there could be home growers, there could be commercial rooftop farmers, and then there could be schools which are utilizing their large rooftops for commercially growing the vegetable. On the other hand, hotel chefs, housewives, and even vegetable sellers, they would also be coming onto this platform. Now, this online platform is going to connect the urban growers with the urban consumers. Now, more importantly, what kind of information would the urban grower be inputting into this platform? So he'll say, where am I located? What am I growing? What is the growth stage of my crop? How many days to harvest for each crop? What is my unit pack size? What is the sale price of each unit pack? Now, those are the info points that will be inputted by the urban organic grower. Now, what will the urban organic consumer search for? He can find out, he can input where he is located, and then he can find out who is the closest urban farmer, closest to his house. Then which of his vegetables are ready for harvest? What quantity of each vegetable do I want to buy? Do I want the vegetables home delivered? So this platform is going to bring together all of that information. And it's not just about connecting urban growers with urban consumers. It's also about creating an online community of hobby gardeners. Even hobby gardeners can participate on this platform, and they can do a lot of knowledge sharing with each other. What to grow, what kind of seeds to use, does anybody have surplus seeds? Would he like to share his surplus seeds with somebody? Does anybody have surplus leafy vegetable? Would he like to barter his leafy vegetables and pick up seeds from that person and give the organic leafy vegetables to that person? There's so many amazing things that can happen on this online platform. Another very important thing is that we are focusing a lot on educating and training the urban unemployed youth in urban organic farming. Now, those trained youth can also access the City Fresh online platform to find out business opportunity or employment opportunity or even short-term employment opportunity in individual houses who are doing rooftop organic farming or in commercial roof farms or even in farmhouses who are interested in growing organic vegetables. So it's not just about business, it's also about enabling young people who have migrated from the rural areas into the cities, training them, and then enabling them to use this platform to find out short-term and long-term employment opportunities in any of these categories. In fact, we have started a very unique project called Mahila Mali, which is for the skill development and employment of women. This is being done in the state of Bihar. So women living in slums, I myself interviewed 14 such women, and we have created a team of two selected women. Now, these two women are called Mahila Mali, and currently they are undergoing their training on rooftop organic farming, and ultimately they would be offering on-site maintenance services to people who are growing vegetables on the rooftop, either for self-use or for commercial cultivation. And the City Fresh model can also be used as an e-commerce platform for selling products and services. I won't go too much into it. Now, there's another aspect that I want to bring into this presentation. A lot of state governments are waking up to the usefulness of rooftop organic farming. So these are the state governments, but something very unique and tangible has happened in two states. So, for example, in the government of Bihar has offered for the past 2 years, it is offering 50% subsidy specifically for rooftop farming, and 1,000 houses are going to be covered, and the total project size is about 5 crores, and we happen to be their partners all the way from conceptualization to ideation to process execution, and today we are also the largest empaneled vendors with the Department of Horticulture, Government of Bihar. Another very exciting development that has happened is the New Town Kolkata Development Authority has now made it mandatory for new buildings to have rooftop gardening, and the existing building, if they are doing rooftop farming, then they will be getting a rebate, a long-term rebate in property tax. So this is a very, very clear decision that has been taken by the New Town Kolkata Development Authority. Lastly, very quickly, I'll just waste a couple of seconds of your time just talking about my company, my dream. It's called Living Greens. We are India's first rooftop organic farming company. We were established in 2013 with the support of angel investors from the Silicon Valley. We now have over 1,500 customers in 25 cities, more than 8 years of hands-on experience. And most importantly, we have been able to digitize our knowledge in order to offer online support system, not just to people in India. We are now actively talking to NGOs in South America, in Bangladesh, and in Nepal, and offering them online support for rooftop organic farming using that digitized knowledge. I'll leave that part. I just wanted to share this. We are creating 3 kind of channel partners: city business partners, gardening shops are becoming our dealers, and we are also offering a program for agriculture graduates to become agripreneurs. A little about the rewards and recognitions. We are very proud about this one particular date, 18th of March 2018, when we got an opportunity to present our concept to Prime Minister Modi, and his immediate reaction after listening to the entire presentation was, let's integrate this into our smart city mission. So thank you very much for being patient listeners, and once again I'm sharing my dream with all of you. Our dream is to create 1 million organic homes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And I think we are left with very little time, so let's start with the questions first. Anybody has question regarding Sunkad sir's presentation first?
I think they've already had the question answer. If I can go, there are many questions. If you can go to question answer.
Yes, sir. I noticed there's a question called, what are the nutrition values of tuber crops? We have done some testing. The profiles match. We particularly like I told, there's a lot of research happening on medicinal plants. But this is not to assume that in the first and second crop you get that. Very little micronutrient deficiencies also alter the profiles there. And that's a little deep IP we hold where we can recreate to the nearest possible of any nutrition you would want. Okay. Details
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Can I complete the question?
Sure.
My question was on vertical farming. I see nowadays in India a lot of tuber like turmeric and others growing in vertical farming. Now my question was, I see sometimes that there is good production, but my question was in vertical farming in tuber crops, what is the nutrition value secured in this, or just we are growing something with lot of water inside? Thank you.
Yeah, particularly because we are in the seed business activity, we need to check. I wouldn't call it nutritional quality because we did not use it for feed purpose, but there's a number of tests we do to understand the vigor and genetic trueness of this potato plants or planting material we produce. And this is today a world gold standard. Indian research institutes and international research institutes have agreed on this. Now, so far as other plants are concerned, we do know that active ingredients and phytonutrient profiles change. So it would not be correct for me to cast aspersions on others, but it's a subject of research and development, please. It wouldn't be as bad as you would fear. Sure.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm impressed by Prateek Tiwari ji. He's done a very good job. But I have some doubts about that aeroponic. He said he was using some chemical inputs. And when you're using along with the water and you're producing with water, then your testing comes to ppb, not ppm. It might go even higher than that. So what are the chemical residues you see they're getting in aeroponics?
So primarily, small clarification just to repeat, we use nutrients, like nitrogen, phosphorus, potash. They are in the chemical form, which includes zinc, boron, molybdenum, etc. Okay, but you can't talk of something called the residue because they go on to form the plant body itself, both in the plant and in the tuber. Things like copper or sodium are required in very trace quantities. But there is no
poison. There is a point. There is a point here. You see, there are different bases. Are you getting it from the bio base or are you getting from the chemical base? There's a lot of difference. Chemical base, you definitely get the residue.
I'd like to take this offline, please, if you permit. Primarily being residues are in the soil. In this case, because water is recycled, there is no loss of water or nutrients. We do not drain out any nutrients to nature. We add fresh water.
Loss of water. I have a question. When you feed the chemical and it goes into the plant in its DNA form, and or you might say in a nano form, what comes out? You see, I'm an organic farmer since '92, and we have reached a level of non-allergen. If somebody has an allergy to wheat or anything we produce, and one consumes from the produce from our farm, they don't get the allergy. So that's where the problem lies. See, when you're feeding chemicals, it goes into the nano form and it goes into the DNA of it.
Sir, I'll just clarify this. Sir, it is very simple. Here for mainly the potatoes, these are produced only for the seed purpose. So what Sunkad sir has told, here we are not using organic fertilizers. They are using synthetic fertilizers, but it is mainly used for the seed. But it is not for the organic growers.
I have a question. That's where I have a question. Firstly, the seed industry in India is a failure. And it's been, told by the chair itself. I attended some meetings there. And the main diseases, when you give it to the farmers, the diseases, my assessment is 40% of the diseases are coming from the seed. We cannot afford to produce a seed based on the chemicals. I'm sorry.
Point taken, please. I think there is always going to be a fear of new technology. Um, we are not against, like I told in my talk, my deepest respect to soil and organic farming came because I experimented with this. I'm not recommending this for human consumption, but the strategic problem of seed shortage we are solving with this technology. I'd be happy to take a one-on-one with you.
There is a shortage of management and the will and the universities, those who are not doing any work in organic. I have a lot of VCs as my friends, my dear.
With all respect, I take it, and so far as the merits of organic farming, we shall continue to recommend that and let people practice and encourage. For the moment, let's take it that this is a new technology. Okay.
No, why don't you change chemical input instead into organic inputs? Because I tell you a very unique thing. There is a shabd in Gurbani, Guru Granth Sahib. Pehla pani jio hai jit harya sab koi. So I have nothing against your this technique, but I am against what you're feeding. You are what you eat. It is for the plants.
I think your point is valid, and as Mr. Sunkad said, to have one-to-one interaction. I think for paucity of time, I would request you that if you can go to the next question, please. Thank you.
I think the other questions are for Prateek.
Yes, sir. Bindu ma'am has asked, have any infrastructure for rooftop farming? I think what you're asking is that you need to create any infrastructure for rooftop farming. No, you don't need to do that. You just need to install the portable farming system, use the organic input kit, and follow the advice on the online support system. No other architectural changes required on your rooftop. The next question is by Shri Rohit Raji. He has said, how do we maintain irrigation schedule of drip system in these rooftop systems? Rohitji, we always advise our clients to first see the moisture in the medium, and that moisture in the medium should be seen at a depth of up to 3 inches. Only if the medium is dry from top to 3 inches, only then you need to give your you need to give irrigation through the drip irrigation system. Having said that, there are times when there are senior citizens who are not able to go to the rooftop on a daily basis. So we use a digital timer to automate the irrigation system. But we would always encourage people to go to the rooftop and interact with the plants, because please remember, the plants are living beings and they love to have your presence close to them. Then Rohit said, how and what happens to the leachate coming from the rooftops? Okay, I talked about a subsurface drainage system. The subsurface drainage system is not leaving the water outside the container. The subsurface drainage system is carrying the water from the container all the way to the point where there is a drainage on your rooftop, which means that no extra water, no brown color water is actually spilling all around the container. No, all of that water is getting channelized into the subsurface drainage system, which then is carrying the water all the way to the drain point of your rooftop. He has asked how many crops have been standardized in these rooftops with package of practices. I can't. Okay, I think there are two questions, so let me answer this. Well, as far as crops standardization of the package of practices are concerned, the crops that I talked about during my presentation, the package of practices have been standardized and established using organic package of practices. And by the way, the package of practices have been created on the basis of the contents of the organic input kit. There's another question which I am not able to see. Okay. Also, are these assemblies having any Bureau of Indian Standard, BIS? I think that's what you assume. No, we have not sought any certification from any such body, so they are not BIS certified. Okay, Bindu ma'am has asked for the cost of the whole system. Ma'am, I would request you to connect with us offline because my intention is really not to discuss financials here.
Pariji, you can get it certified. I can help you. Don't worry.
Great, sir. Who was that guardian angel? I'll be happy to connect with him.
Tiwari, I'm Grewal here.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Grewal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, I'll be happy to connect with you, sir.
You get connected with me, and we can always help you.
Sure, sir. So I'm just sharing my contact number in the chat box for any of the eminent guests to connect with me. I'm just sharing my contact number in the chat box, and this is also my my WhatsApp number. So please feel free to connect with me. There are times I may not be able to take your call, but I am definitely very prompt in responding to the WhatsApp messages. And lastly, I just want to tell all of you, I started this as a dream, as a mission. This is not a business for me. I was making more money in Walmart that I've ever made in these past 8.5 years. But since it's a mission, I would want every positive energy to join this mission. I want to share this dream and share this mission with each one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We thank both the speakers, and I request Nakshathri sir to just sum it up.
Okay, I think since we are short of time now, I think I will go ahead with the Mr. Prateek. Can I go ahead with the word of thanks? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Although
Yes,
I don't
yes, sir.
deserve
Very
it.
much, sir.
Yeah, I think we are running short of time. If any questions, anything is there, because it is a wonderful session. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver a vote of thanks to this successful webinar organized under the aegis of Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee of BCIC. My heart goes out to thank our respectful participants logged in from across India and abroad for accepting our invitation and encouraging the speakers by their enthusiasm. I would also like to thank our respectful speakers, Mr. Jagadeesh Sunkad, Director Kanakadhara Agricultural Innovations, Mr. Prateek Tiwari, Founder and CEO of Living Greens, for enlightening presentation and taking out their busy schedule to grace this event so successful. Our special thanks to Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi, Director ORBI Seeds International, for wonderful moderation of the event. I would also like to thank Mr. K.R. Shekhar, President BCIC, for inspiring keynote address, and Mr. Ankur Bhaumik, Co-Chair Agro Food Processing Expert Committee, for excellent setting up the context for the webinar, and also to all the members of the Agri Expert Committee members for making this event memorable. Thanks to Professor Sudarshan Gadivada and staff and students from Venkateshwara University, and there I think it is Tirupati, and the Mr. Professor Sudarshan, he is in Seattle. I think he logged in. It was in live with this university. I think maybe a few hundreds of students they are watching there. And also thanks to Mr. Shankar Subramaniam, who is from Malaysia, with the financial and investor sector. And thanks to him from Malaysia, he logged in and he was also present. Thank you, sir. And thanks to, I think, all other delegates who were present. I think I saw yesterday there are more than 120 doctorates in agriculture. They have logged in. More than 130 lady professionals and doctorates, they were logged in this webinar. Thanks to Dr. Chaudappa, if he is there, Vice Chancellor, he wants to say something. I would like to give it to him. Mr. Rajendra Thakkar, who is the Cravo Technology for Equipments, if he is there, he can also say. And also Mr. Teja Nursery, I think Mr. Ramesh is there. If he is there, he can raise his hand. Otherwise, I will say thanks to Mr. Prateek and Secretariat and staff of BCIC. Special thanks to Ms. Rupa for making this webinar a memorable. Once again, thank you all. Thanks a lot. And now it is over to Mr. Prateek for National Anthem, please.
Thank you, Narasimha Nakshathri sir. So before we could go into the National Anthem, we would like to give a virtual memento to the speakers for the wonderful presentation that they have shared us and brought us the insights how to go in for this soilless cultivation for using the aeroponics. and also on the terrace gardening. This will virtual memento will ensure that it reaches to their office or to their residence. Over to you, Purushottam, for the virtual memento handing over. This will be followed by the national anthem. Now let's have the national anthem played.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Yeah, once again, thank you to all of you.
Thank you. Namaskar.